Marwick Head next. So we have the Not Cold Knockouts, 158.37 against the Bonderig Cheeseheads, 226.58. London Eagles didn't go over 200 this time, 168.72, losing to the Guildford Raptors, 187. Dover's Darla Diamonds, 200.85 against 218.81, the Cavite Porkers. The Porky wins again. The Blue Toon Texans, 197.99 against the Darlington Dragons, 212.75. The Birmingham Bears, 188.94 against the Lagers Lemons, 165.80. And the Manchester Spinners, 183.15 against the Norwich Mustard Men, 213.25.
So yeah, this one's opening up a little bit there at the, you've got the two at the top there at 7-2 Darlington Dragons and Cavite Porkers, our very own Kelly, who's flying this year despite all the quarterbacks in the squad. But yeah, I mean they're looking good to be getting in, and the problem that they've got, the problem that you've got, this division's so tight, right down to 8th is 5-4, but then 9, 10, and 11, I would say they Manchester Spinners and down, they've got to worry about relegation. So Lagersville Lemons and London Eagles. London Eagles don't deserve to be down there that far, and it shows by their points scored. 1,656 points scored. That's 200 more than the Lagersville Lemons above them, So it's it is a bit harsh in that sense, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and it's the way fantasy football goes. But yeah, I would say that so 10th and 9th and down, they're gone. They've got to think about relegation now. But 8th and up is tight, and there's 8 teams there that could make the playoffs. So whilst Darlington Dragons and Cavite Porkers are looking very comfortable, this is not a time to hit a losing streak. You want to get they really need it. They could be dragged into it very, very easily.
Well, they can. You could look at his points, 1,749, and 6 spots, 1,800. So yeah, if it comes down to points, you'll be screwed unless you start scoring points. But he's still cracking.
At the end of the day,
so
if you can get the wins on the board, then the points don't matter. But then if you're not getting the wins, if you're around the 6th spot, then the wins definitely matter. But yeah, he's got Jackson back now, has Pork, and Lamar back doing Lamar things, Again, Joe Flacco there on the other side. Massive game. So, he had a big game, but yeah, and then Rico Dowdle's running a storm at the moment. He's got to hope that the Dowdle's fitness is okay, because he does seem to have taken over from Hubbard now, and is a massive fancy asset now. I would say that's, and considering where you were drafting Dowdle in the draft, it's been a big pickup for those who got him.
Well, he went off and then he came back on and scored a touchdown.
Yes, yeah, and he did come back, and I know he played the game out, but they are talking, that that he has got that injury, and even if he is playing, if he's playing hurt, then Hubbard's likely to get more touches, because it's not like Hubbard's all of a sudden a bad running back. Hubbard's still got the goods, It's just Dowdle's doing better, and you run with a hot hand, don't you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So yeah, it's a big win for Pork, and Trey McBride and JSN down there. I mean, Trey McBride now that all of a sudden, you put a thrown quarterback in there that actually knows what he's doing, and all of a sudden Trey McBride's finding the end zone. So the fact that they've put Murray on IR, I think, is a big help for McBride, also a big help for Marv. And you've got JSN there. I mean, he's so tell me, Johnny, when you're doing your tiers for drafting and such, and so the top tiers in the running backs, you've got Chase, you've got Puka, you've got Jefferson in there. Are you adding JSN to that tier now? Because I think he's been magnificent, and he has proved himself to be the alpha.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, if Neighbours hadn't got injured, he would probably be up there too, but he'll probably be level 2, tier 2 though, when he comes back.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, JSN for me has made that leap this year. He has made that jump to the top tier this year. I think it's not even about his ceiling, it's about his floor,
Yeah. Even in his rookie year, I saw quite a lot of it, and He had lots of good third down receptions. He was only getting the ball mainly in the third down passes, but he was converting them, and he was making cracking catches. It was only a step. There wasn't going to be much for him to step up and be the main person. And then when Cup's gone and what's his name?
Metcalf went.
Lockett is gone. No Cut. Yeah, Metcalf and Tyler Lockett gone. Who else has he got? So
I mean, he's shown, but JSN has shown this year for me that he can step into that proper alpha number one. I am the man, and I will get the ball role. You know, and he's getting over 100 yards every week. You know, he's got 8 out of 8 receptions from 9 targets. He's catching everything. And I can only see him. I think he's the floor is very, very high with JSN, and the ceiling's, infinite. To be fair,
definitely.
so big player to have in your team as well. And I like the players that Pork's got there. I think he's got a very good chance of. Shaheed is coming into that wide receiver room, Derek. You're right, and I just don't think that makes that much of a difference for JSN. It's like if Shaheed was going into, I don't know, the Bengals locker room, that wouldn't make a difference to Chase, Now it maybe make a difference to Higgins, but that's a different. There isn't a, who's Higgins at Seattle? Cooper Cup. What annoys me about it is Torrey Horton. The Shaheed going there hurts my Torrey Horton a lot more than it does hurt JSN. I think Shaheed going there only helps JSN.
Yeah, because obviously JSN does a lot in the middle. He'll get the routes, whereas Shaheed and Horton are the more of the deep throws.
Long balls. But it opens it up for JSN as well, that teams maybe not paying as much attention to Horton, that they will certainly have to pay attention to Shaheed, because he is a bona fide threat. And Darnold has shown that he can get the ball down there, Darnold's been very, very good this year again. And shown why the Jets went for him first round, the first pick in that draft all those years ago. But yeah, he's looking good, and I just think that with Shaheed down there, now they're having to pay a wee bit more attention to the long ball, and thus that's going to open JSN up through the middle, And I just think it'll be a good thing for him, and I think he's in for a massive season. So yeah, a big win for Pork, 7-2, doubles Darlow Diamonds. He got to 200 points, just unlucky that he ran into a bigger score, but at 5-4, well in the hunt and well there. So yeah, good win for Pork.
Third highest score.
A good squad there as well.
Yeah, good for
a good squad there as well to see them through,
Definitely. So who they got in week 10? The Guildford Raptors 5-4 against 6-3 Bonnerig Cheeseheads. Cavic Porkers are playing the knockouts. Knockouts. Luton Texans are up against the London Eagles, so the London Eagles might get their second win. You don't know.
Got a good chance.
Dover's Darlow Diamonds against the Borden Bears, so 5-4, 6-3. Manchester Spinners against the Darlington Dragons, 2-7 against 7-2. Norwich Mustard Ben 6-3 against the 2-7 Lagerthorpe Lemons.
So, yeah, see when you've got a division like this, and there's 4 teams down the bottom there that kind of are a little bit of the whipping boys that they're losing more often than they're winning. You then get games like down at the bottom there where you've got the 7-2. What was the last game again, Johnny? It's the Darlington Dragons are playing the Manchester Spinners. So 7-2 against 2-7. That hurts all the kind of 6-3s and the 5s and 4s, because you have to say Darlington Dragons are going to be the heavy favourites for that game, and should they get that victory, it puts them on to 8 wins and it's kicking them on. So the kind of teams that are fighting, the teams that are looking for the top ones to come backwards, they're not wanting that tie. They're wanting Darlington Dragons to have a much harder matchup than that this week,
Definitely.
So, and the Norwich Mustard men there as well against the Lagerthorpe Lemons, that's a big game for them, in the sense that if they can get that win, just give them that little bit of ease the pressure between them and the playoff spots,
Especially like obviously with 5-4, 6-3. Is there a 4 and 5?
Bluetown Patriots, the Bluetown Texans and the London Eagles game there as well. You might think that's for nothing, and it kind of is, but at the same time, it's not, because with 5 games to go, if either one of them can win kind of 2 or 3 games between, if they can win 3 games or 4 games, so 3 or 4 out of the last 5, that might just be enough to get them a bye in the first round, you know, and only having to win one game to stay in the division as opposed to having to win two. So whilst it's a
Definitely.
nothing game in the context of making the playoffs or whatever, it's a very big game in the context of where you're going to be positioned in those consolations as you head in to try and stay in the division.
Definitely, it's a good one, that one. Like, because, let's say London Eagles are barring last week. I've been pretty unlucky about 3 weeks before having good
Yeah, they'll
scores
be
and coming up
massively
against
unlucky.
it. So they had to have
And
one
it just
eventually.
is
But
it's what happens in this game from time to time. And there's, you know, I go through my every year. I go through my leagues at the end, you know, and there's ones that I've finished like 8th out of 12, and I've got the third highest amount of points, you know, and it's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you run at the end of the day, you're only playing one team a week, and you only have to beat the team that's across from you. But sometimes that team across from you is going to have a big one, and when that happens more often than not in your season, it's going to kill your season. So it's just been a harsh one for London Eagles, but stay in the division. You know, the target has to be stay in the division now and go for promotion next year.